What if the hardest thing was actually your greatest blessing? What if impossible path was the only way to deliverance? We often struggle with obedience, and we want to understand why first. We want a guarantee of the outcome, but faith doesn't always work that way. A young man named Nephi lived 600 years before Christ. A simple command from God set his amazing journey in motion. It tests his faith to the limits. His story reveals a powerful truth. Trusting God, even when it's hard, is a path to miracles. So if you ever struggled to follow the promptings that felt too big, this story is for you. Our story begins in Jerusalem, a city on the brink of destruction. The prophet Lehi, Nephi's father, received a divine warning. Take your family and flee. Jerusalem will be destroyed. Think about what this meant. Lehi was a wealthy man. He had a comfortable home, gold, silver, and respect. The command was to leave it all and walk into an unknown desert. For Nephi's older brothers, this command sounded ludicrous. They murmured and complained. They called their father foolish. Their reaction was based on their fear. They could not see past the sacrifice. But Nephi's response was different. He had a great desire to know. He didn't just accept it. He prayed for his own confirmation. The Lord softened his heart. He believed his father's words. This is the first critical lesson. His obedience was not blind. It was rooted in a personal relationship with God. He chose to trust even when it made no sense. This choice defined his journey. He chose God's promise over the comfort of his own, of what he knows. That choice changed everything. The family had left everything. Now an even harder command came. The Lord told Lehi to send his sons all the way back to Jerusalem. Their mission? To get the sacred records, the brass plates. They were held by a dangerous man named Laban, and these plates were essential. Without them, their children would dwindle in unbelief. To Laman and Lemuel, this was crazy. They had just escaped. Now they had to go back. They said it was a hard thing. And here Nephi speaks words that echo through time. I will go and do the things which the Lord hath commanded. For I know that the Lord giveth no commandments, save he shall prepare a way. This was a statement of faith, a go and do attitude. God's command always came with God's power to fulfill them. Their first attempt was a failure. Laban called them robbers, and their second attempt was worse, and Laban stole their gold and sent his servants to kill them. They barely escaped with their lives. Laban and Lemuel were done. They were angry and discouraged. They even started to beat Nephi. Then an angel had stepped and stopped them. The angel said to go back one more time and promised that Laban would be delivered into their hands. Still, they doubted. But Nephi resolved to go. This time, he went alone, at night led by the Spirit. He did not know what he should do. He walked in faith, a moment by moment. He found Laban drunk in the street. He saw Laban's own sword, and the Spirit commanded him to kill Laban. Nephi reconciled. He was taught not to kill, but the Spirit spoke again. It is better that one man should perish than a nation dwindle in unbelief. The records were that important. This was not an act of anger. It was an act of painful obedience. A lower law was set aside for a higher divine command. With great difficulty, Nephi obeyed. He then got the plates from the treasury, and when Nephi returned with the plates, it was a miracle. His unwavering obedience unlocked the power of God. He made the impossible possible. The family continued their journey, But the trials were far from over. Life in the desert was brutal. Then a crisis struck. Nephi's steel bow broke. This was their main tool for hunting. Without the bow, they couldn't get food. Panic and anger erupted. Even Nephi's father, Lehi, murmured. They were all exhausted and hopeless. But what did Nephi do? While everyone else was complaining, he was acting. He found some wood and he fashioned a new bow and arrow. He used what he had, then he did something humble. He went to his father Lehi and asked where he would go to hunt. He honored his father's role as a prophet. This act of respect helped him restore Lehi's faith. Lehi repented and inquired of the Lord. Direction was given. Because of Nephi's proactive obedience, food was found and the family was saved. The lesson here is profound. When crisis hits, we have one choice. We can complain and despair, or we can act in faith and the humble seek of God's help. Nephi's obedience was an active force. After 8 long years, they arrived at a place called Bountiful. It was a fertile land near the sea, but their rest was short. The Lord had another command for Nephi, to build a ship. Now let that sink in. Nephi was a man of the desert. He was not a shipwright. His brothers immediately mocked him. They said, "We know that ye could not construct a ship." To them, it was illogical. They believed it couldn't be done, so they even refused to try. But Nephi asked a simple question, "Lord, whither shall I go, that I may find ore to molten?" His question wasn't if, it was how God would help him to do it. He didn't focus on his limits, he focused on God's power. The Lord showed him where he found ore and how to make tools from scratch. Nephi often went to the mountains to pray. He received instructions from God. He did not build the ship after the manner of men. He built it after the manner which the Lord had shown unto me. As Nephi worked, his brothers railed. They refused to help. But Nephi, filled with God's power, had to rebuke them. A divine force protected him, and when the ship was completed, it was exceedingly fine. They knew it was the work of God. The impossible task stood before them, a testament to the power of obedience. This story is a powerful reminder. Our personal limits don't matter when we are on the Lord's errand. The Lord taught Nephi a new skill. He can guide us through our own tasks that can feel too big. If you're finding value in this, please take a moment to click and subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot. The ship was finished and the commandment was fulfilled. Now came the reward. They set sail on a vast ocean towards the promised land. At first, all is well, but soon the old habits returned, and Nephi's brothers and others began to be ungrateful. They forgot the God who delivered them, and Nephi warned them to stop, and this only made them angry, and their rebellion reached a new peak, and they seized and bound him. He was tied up for 4 days, and in that moment of rebellion, the divine help was withdrawn, and the Liahona, their compass, stopped. A terrible storm arose, and the ship was about to be sunk. Their lives were in peril, and this was a direct result of their disobedience. Finally, seeing that they would perish, their hearts softened, and they freed Nephi. And the moment he was freed, he prayed, and the storm was ceased. There was a great calm. This is a powerful analogy. When we bind ourselves with disobedience, we lose our direction. But when we turn back to God, The calm returned, and Nephi guided the ship, and they finally arrived at the promised land. Every single act of obedience had been a necessary step. The path of obedience is difficult, but it is a destination and is a place of promise. So, what does this ancient story mean for us today? It's a timeless blueprint for a life of faith. First, obedience is an act of trust, and it's not blind. Nephi sought his own testimony. Second, faith is an action word. Nephi's motto was, "I will go and do." He trusted God would provide for them a way. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Third, obedience unlocks growth. Nephi's challenges becomes his lessons. The things we struggle with are often designed to teach us the most. Finally, obedience is about love. We obey God because we trust Him. The path was hard, but it led to a promised land. God keeps His promises, and He will prepare a way. He will guide us through storms, and He will lead us to joy. So final question is this: what is the hard thing the Lord is asking for you right now? What ship are you being asked to build? And whatever it is, can you trust like Nephi? Can you trust God and that He will prepare a way? Thank you for joining us. If this video has inspired you, please subscribe and turn on the notifications. You can also watch our other videos from this channel, and I hope this gives you a lot of insight. Until next time, keep seeking and keep trusting and keep moving forward.